Hello, everybody. My name is Igor. I am CEO of CryptoMeta DAO, and today we're gonna speak with Karnika, co-founder of Forward Protocol. And to help us came Ksenia Mikhailova. She is almost native English speaker, but with Russian heart. Ksenia, let's begin.
Yes, hi everyone. Hello, Karnika. So, how are you? Where are you now?
Very good. Very good. I'm in Dubai.
You're in Dubai. Okay. So, maybe you will tell something about you, about your path to blockchain. Maybe you will tell us what did you do before blockchain? What was your history?
Sure. First, I'm very happy to be here to take part in this conversation with the community. I have been in the blockchain since 2013. So I started my business when I was 14 years old in the world of marketing and tech, first tech and then to the marketing space. And in 2013, when some of the businesses I was involved with moved to the blockchain, that's when I came in. And the journey continued from there with our incubator and marketing solution, Key Difference Media, for 9 years in the space. And we worked with some of the biggest brands, and that gave us great progress during 2017 periods. And we continue to grow with the trend, always staying few years ahead of the trend, knowing what is to come. And that's a quick background there.
Okay, great. So, what are you doing now in the blockchain? Because as I know, you also have some blockchain. Maybe you will tell something about your path in blockchain. How did you start, and what are you doing now?
Okay. So from 2013, my primary involvement between 2013 to 2017 was to work with companies who were already revenue positive, profitable entities who are entering blockchain and help them grow within the space, find the blockchain audience, which was very, very tiny pockets back in those days. And in 2017, the whole ICO boom happened. At that point, I was supporting hundreds of projects and helped them raise over $550 million and more. And in 2018, everything came down, the markets were down. At that point, I noticed that most of the businesses who raised those insane amount of money, they were not really doing much with it. They were not able to take what they had, the vision and ideas, and convert them to a usable solution that the rest of the world could use. And there was a big gap. And that gap was the starting point for Forward and what we have right now. I went back and thought about it. Just incubating companies, just supporting companies, bringing them to blockchain is one thing. But what is the biggest hurdle here? And the challenge is simplicity. How do we convert and how do we make things simple and make it easy for users from rest of the world to come in? Because the blockchain as an industry is super tiny. Right now you have millions of people, but back then, especially in 2018, you had very few people left. And it was a time when the same situation as right now, blockchain is dead scenario, right? And it needed support. It needed something that will bridge that gap. But the biggest value that the blockchain can have is coming from the traditional world, from the world of business with strong fundamentals. But how do they transition here? An entrepreneur has an idea, someone has a concept in their mind, but they do not want to be in a situation where they spend the next 1 year, 2 year trying to raise money, then hire developers, and then build something. And that process in the world of blockchain is so hard because by the time you do it, most of the times you're outdated. There is something that has already been done and taken over. And the only way to bridge that is if we bring it to a point where someone from the point of idea to life can happen in a matter of few hours or a few minutes, or the worst to worst, it can be few days, but it cannot be year or many months. And that's when we started to look at this whole system, and we found a beautiful opportunity. We found something called English Forward, which is an 20 years old website. It is older than Reddit, older than Yahoo and all of that. We said, okay, what we really need is users. So how do we start from there? We acquired English Forward. which already had served over 310 million users over its lifetime, and it had millions of traffic. So once we acquired that, we started to use that as a foundation to think, how do we bring these users here? And we started building solutions around that. And that led from there to having a solution for the specific niche industry there. And then we evolved that to something that can work across the space. So from 2018 to 2021, that was the journey of building, recreating, brainstorming, and trying to expand that idea to what it is right now, Forward Protocol, where it is a WordPress for the Web 3.0. What do I mean by that? We all know WordPress. We have used it at some point in our life, at least most of us. And the time before WordPress, it was very different. If someone wanted to make a website, they hire a developer. It takes a month or 2 months, or sometimes even more. Back in those scary days, it used to cost like $5,000-$10,000 per business to make a website. It was many businesses used to say, okay, we cannot afford a website. We don't have that amount of interest online. And that was a bottleneck. And then came this Drupal, Joomla, and different content management systems. And finally, we came to this beautiful spot of WordPress. And it was a solution where people could deploy their websites in a very short amount of time. Of course, right now, it's a matter of 5 to 10 minutes. But even a few years back, it took like few hours, but it was much better than few months. And the moment that solution came in, the adoption rate went up. Now, an entrepreneur in the Web 2 space who has an idea, they don't just do a business plan. They don't sit and write a 100-page business plan. A lot of them put that concept as a website. They put these ideas there, and then they use that as a testing ground to bring that idea to life, to consolidate that, to structure it, and to build from there. And that was our same idea with Forward. If someone has that new idea in the Web3, they should look at all these different templates and available existing built solutions. They should be able to click it, customize it without coding, and build it and deploy it in a pure no-code interface. When I say no code, I strictly mean a no code, not copy one line of code, copy this one paragraph of code, none of that. If they see code, then it's a disaster. They're going to be scared. So an absolute no code solution for them to get something live. And then came the question, get them live where? I mean, you have all these different options, all these different possibilities. I come from a decentralized background. I've been living this life for the last 9 years. And one thing I know about it is to give people choices. I have no right to say what people need. I have no right to decide what someone else's life should be using or what they should be doing. So we decided to create Forward as a complete open marketplace where all options are provided for them. Everything is rated and provisioned, but then it's all provided and they are free to choose and do what they want to do with it, deploy and go live in a short period of time.
Karnika, you now mentioned English Forward. As I understand, the owner is Mitch, right? His name is Mitch. He used to be the owner of that big website English about learning English, right? Because I saw a couple of videos with him when he presented Forward as an educational, platform or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but you made a pivot from educational idea to the present idea, or maybe I didn't get it right. No?
Yes. So in 2018, as I said, when we built Forward, it was started to be built for English Forward. And then it ended up becoming a platform for a lot of decentralized educational products, which is why we had interest from Oxford and Cambridge blockchain societies as well.
Yeah.
And from there, when we had it, a lot of entities around, they said, okay, this is perfect. I can use it for healthcare. I can use it for my supply chain. And then we were like, okay, if everyone can use it for different industries, why are we putting it into a box for just edtech space? And then we expanded on that, which is when we said, okay, we shouldn't be the ones designing specific products and limiting the scope of what Forward could do. We should allow others to come in and for them to create their own products and expand it. And that's how it ended up accessible for all industries right now.
I see. Before this interview, we in our community watched the demo you sent us just before today, right? And we didn't get it because on that demo, as we understand, you have to download a smart contract. Is that correct?
Okay, so the demo has two parts. One is the developer side. So the developer goes in and builds a particular application. So it could be a smart contract, it could be a front-end interface, whatever the case is. The developer adds it to the marketplace. Then the user comes in. The user looks at what is in the marketplace. He just deploys it, fills the fields, and goes live. So it's two parts. The first half of the demo caters to a developer's lifecycle. So the developer adds things there and he sets a fee. He could say, I want to earn a fee every time you deploy. I want to earn a transactional fee or a monthly fee, whatever the fee model is. The developer adds in there. So it's a developer's economy. Now, every developer has created a lot of different products already in the market. They could just start adding them to the forward to allow that work to be used by a large amount of users. So
Now I get it.
the developer was adding a flattened contract there.
I see. And the user can just buy it, right? And
in the marketplace, they just click an option deploy, and they just fill the required fields that is already set by the developer or that is in the contract as defined by the developer, and they go live.
Karnika, could you please give me a couple of examples? What kind of things can I launch by using Forward?
Okay. Technically, if something can be done in blockchain, you can do that in Forward, but I'll give you a few business use cases. Yes. There was a question about a business development guy who said, I wanted to split a payment coming to a wallet to two parties, my company and me, because if the money goes to company, it takes 30 days for me to get it. I just want a solution. So we said, OpenZipline already has a payment splitter. So if we just put that payment splitter in the factory, then any business developer could just click that, add all the pays and the percentage of the split, deploy, and then it's 5 minutes. And this particular contract address can be used anytime he wants to split payment between multiple parties. And then let's look at another example. Companies who wants to provide employees their salaries on chain. It's a vesting contract, a very simple vesting contract. You already have that. So you put the vesting contract in there, where a company uploads the list of wallets with the amounts that they're going to get. Just that this vesting contract says you get all your payment immediately. So 100% is issued to you right now. So a user goes in there, clicks it, and gets it. But maybe some companies, because I got this idea from one of the companies that we recently invested in. They wanted to allow employees to withdraw salaries even every day, because a company pays them by end of 30 days, but what if by 15 days they wanted to take the money? So if the company funds the contract and puts that on chain, then the employee can come in anytime as a vesting contract vested over 30 days. They can start withdrawing anytime they want. So these are a couple of solutions, but right now we are uploading about 50 contracts. We are not the developers of the 50 contracts. They're all open source. That's completely available in GitHub and different places. We are just compiling and uploading those contracts, some with the front end. Example of front end could be those like vesting staking contracts, so that all the different blockchain projects, they don't have to pay money to a developer to recreate that every single time for hundreds of times. So they can just come here and deploy that with their front end application, where they can add their logos, change colors, and go live. So the examples are really the limitations of the blockchain, because we are working with, at this point, 400 different blockchains, and we are going to be working with 30 to 40 more in the next 45 days. So it doesn't matter whether it is an EVM chain, if it's a Rust based one, or if it is JS based contract, or if it is Python Viber based compilers, it will work for everyone and every different language, because we are adding new compilers for new languages right now, every day.
Karnika, what's the current stage of your product?
Okay, so we have the developer central line. We have the ability for user to come and work with. We have EVM chains integrated. So if any chain is listed in chainlist.org, that is workable. But if you want to add your custom RPC, you can add your own private chain, whatever you have running, you can do it. We don't want to be the ones defining the chains. It's open. It's just that we are having a Solidity compiler. It works with every EVM chain out there. And right now we are adding few more. But at this point, you can upload any contracts and deploy it. You have a front-end builder to have simple front-end UIs. You can drag and drop videos to text, format it how you want, buttons, whatever you want to do there. And right now we are also adding, as you saw, there's an option for storage. We have disabled that option right now, but that storage option works where you want to upload larger application. Let's assume that you go and you have Moodle. Moodle is an e-learning platform. You create a smart contract as a backend for Moodle, replacing the database to store everything in a contractual, in a smart contract on a blockchain. Then you're able to upload whole of the Moodle onto the storage solution and then deploy the contracts for any chain for that matter. So that works as well. We just disabled it. It should be live in upcoming period. And you also have the ability to integrate with Amazon, Google Cloud, and other solutions to deploy the front end. And then the question came up, we don't want just the complex apps. What if we have a very simple front end? Then you can even run it from S3 bucket. You don't need an Amazon EC2 instance. So running it from S3 buckets or such simpler solutions could also work. So we are adding more of those integrations. We recently tied up with Consensus. We tied up with Infura and a few more. And we are trying to expand our product base. We even got a grant from Amazon, Google Cloud, and so on. So we are expanding that to different other providers. And we are also in conversation with multiple providers to get grants from them for these deploying entities. Like if you look at web hosting in the past, like let's say 5 years before, you go, you sign up, you get a web hosting account. Then it says you get $1,000, $100 credit on Google Ads. You get a freebie of 6 months of SSL certificate, all of those things, right? So now when someone comes to forward, we want to give them, let's say $100 Amazon credit, which ideally means they get maybe a couple of months or 3 months or whatever the time is free Amazon service, and Amazon gets a new customer for life. And same way, we are working with the blockchains to get grants. So we are talking to a few chains where we are asking them, okay, anybody who registers, give them like a $50 grant, $100 grant. That will pay up for their fees for the next upcoming months or maybe even a year, because a lot of these projects here might be a business, real business use cases. They are not going to be burning tens and thousands of transactions. Maybe they just need 20, 50, 100 transactions in a month. So we're trying to bring those parts there, but they're all plug and play. That functionality on the back end exists. The moment we have it, it'll start working on that. We also have a lot of backend functions built, which is not connected to the front end yet. Examples are like deploying a blockchain or a subnet. We have the backend provisioning. If you look at the APIs that we have, you can already see creating a new network. It is there on the API side. I can send you the link for the APIs as well. Basically, it enables someone to have their own blockchain as a, let's say, a copy of Cosmos SDK, or they want to create a subnet and start having their own network of any of the existing chains. All of that provisioning on the backend is there. But still, it's a lot more work to bring that to the front end, because front end, technically backend is a lot of work, but then the moment you connect to front end, it opens a lot of possibilities, which ideally requires us to run through a lot of examples and situations to make sure that it is foolproof. And the security aspect also kicks in. So that's the process that we are in with the blockchain deployment and subnet deployments.
Karnika, it sounds so cool, really. I think it's super perspective, but to be honest, I can't feel how it can be used, like in everyday life for like people. So you mentioned, for example, Oxford University, right? So you have kind of partnership with them. How they can use your technology. Maybe you can say on the example of some other university. As for the health tech also, I can't feel it. Could you please explain it?
Okay, so what do universities need? It's a question. What I want to really do in this process is to separate forward from blockchain. The solutions that we are brainstorming right now is for the blockchain as an industry. It has nothing to do with forward, because forward can deploy anything. But let's use that. They probably would need to have their certificates on chain, and minting certificates as an NFT is something that our existing contract, proof of ownership, can do. So we already have a contract, and that asks people, okay, you go there, I'll send you a link to that as well. It is a separate demo where they're able to see whether they need to mint an ERC 721 or 1155. Of course, you need to put a description to the end user explaining what the difference is, not using these technical terms. So do you want a particular NFT which is unique and there's only one, or you want the same NFT with a replicable function? So probably for certificates, they need an ERC 721. They choose that. And then they write the name, they write the description, and then they go on to actually define what they need and the form fields. So it needs a name, and it needs what degree they finished, which year they finished, and maybe there's a unique identifying number they have, the 4 fields. And if they need an image, they add an image, and then they finish it. In this proof of ownership, they need to connect this to the APIs of OpenSea, because OpenSea needs to understand what image to display, what is the name, because there are many fields. So that's a mapping. And then they map, and then they have to choose which chain and deploy it. This is something that will enable not only universities, anybody who wants something to be minted. So this creates a form. This form can be filled by anyone who is authorized. So now you have the owner, and then you have a minter. So the owner would be probably the administrative office of the university, and the minter could be like the certificate issuing teacher or the department that relates to it. So they can add multiple minters, and now they can just go fill the form. Every time they fill the form, they click the button, there's a new mint of a certificate, or they can bulk upload, download the template, bulk upload and do it. And this existed since Feb of this year. So like 10 months old. This part and this workflow has been there. This is one, but now just take the same interface, the ability to mint an NFT. You can use it in 10,000 different ways. It can be used in supply chain by a company who was creating a product. They can use this as a way to put a QR code on the product, identifying this product from its source by adding all the details. They might have 100 fields. They might say this particular material, this yarn came from Turkey, and this was stitched in Egypt, and this was packaged in this country. They add all the fields, and then they mint this NFT, and this NFT in OpenSea is pointed by this QR code. The imagination is endless. Who can use it, how they can use it. But then the contract is the same single contract that mints an NFT.
Sounds cool, really cool. I hope you will do it.
No,
Yeah.
this part already exists. This part already is been live for last 10 months.
How many customers do you have now?
Okay, so our product is in private beta. So we have been usually refreshing the database. So we are putting it public shortly. At this point in time, all these different entities, they deploy their solutions and work on it. But we are not allowing it for public use at this point. But we'll be doing that probably from next month. We want to put it completely live in a separate instance.
Why you don't put it on the public?
We were actually doing iterations. I'll send you certain videos where you can see the version 1, version 2, and version 3. Right now, what we have is the 3rd version. In the version 1, which is the version of proof of ownership that I was mentioning about, the developer central was not existing. That had all these beautiful interfaces, full customization for the end user. And in the version 2, we tried with a limited developer central. And in the version 3, we expanded it much more and connected it to all the different deployment models and all the blockchains. In the version 2, you had to have specific RPCs. And that was limiting because RPCs sometimes stop working. And then we had to manually edit it. So we were using these iterations to train, improvise, and bring it to a level where we were fully happy and confident. And we believe version 3 is that because it's completely open in all sides, from developer side, deployment side, the user side, from the third parties integration side, everywhere.
I see.
Also, to also go into some of the technicalities, we had to separate the APIs from the system because we don't want someone to just abuse it, use this as a layer to start pushing and loading a particular blockchain. We don't want those things happening. So we had to work through some of the security protection for the blockchain and for ourselves, and protect the APIs and make them all individual and modular. And making them modular was an important part of this journey for us.
Karnika, yesterday I had an interview with a company who develops a Web3 game, also in blockchain.
Mhm.
And they started that the biggest issue they have is the fact that everyone is so concerned about blockchain. And this is the biggest issue, actually. So I'm just wondering why you decided to do your platform now, because the adoption is quite low. Maybe it's not the right time. How do you think? Or maybe it's the best time. I just want to understand your logic.
Yeah, we started on this journey long back because we saw the problem and we started building towards it. And we believe this is the perfect time because I'm talking to a lot of companies right now, a lot of governments as well. As you know, I've been speaking in Jordan in the early November, and we spoke with multiple governments there, Jordan, Sudan, and Palestine. And I'm heading to Turkey end of this year as well. And there is a great amount of government interest and enterprise interest. These guys don't look at speculation and price. And when someone says there is a problem with the blockchain, the reason is because they see FTX is blockchain, they see FTX is Bitcoin, and they see Bitcoin is blockchain, which is also not true. Cryptocurrency is not blockchain as well. And I can see even bankers right now able to differentiate between these two things. And if a banker is able to differentiate these two, I am very happy with the progress that we made in the previous years. If it was in the past, they would blanket ban and say, okay, everything is shit. But right now, they're able to differentiate and think through the differences. And bankers told me in the last couple of months, many members, that they actually see how this can help them, how this can save their cost. And I went through their own presentation, not me, their presentation on why they were selling me why blockchain is the best solution for them. So when all of this are happening, I can see there's a lot of noise. And sad thing, people in the blockchain space, they are the ones who are very reactive to things. They're super reactive. They jump onto something and then they run away from something fast. But people in the traditional space, though they move fast and though many are scared, those who have studied about it, those who have understood it, they understand the value. A good example I can say is asset tokenization. In the recent period, I have been approached by companies to tokenize their assets, move it to blockchain by entities which could total in value for about $7 to $8 billion. Different entities. One was a silica mine that is worth $5 billion. Another was a water tokenization company who, at this point, are worth about $50 million of hard assets. And these are all assets that will be verified by entities like Deloitte and PwC. They verify and say, okay, here is X amount of assets, and then it gets tokenized, and then users will gain access to those assets by holding. There is someone who is in the yarn, the material that goes into making our clothes. He wants to use blockchain to bring the cost of funding for him lower. He's paying 12% to bank. He wants to reduce it to 6% by giving guaranteed 6% returns to someone in the blockchain space to get access to the funding to procure and have yarn in there. There are people with forest lands, illiquid forest lands. All of these guys, and where are they coming from? How are they able to see the vision? These are not guys with $500 on Dogecoin. These are guys with 500 acres of land worth millions of dollars ready to put their assets on blockchain because they see the value in there. And that is the kind of people that I'm with. And I'm happy. And I see this as an absolute beautiful time and place. And what we are trying to do here is solving that exact problem. A lot of companies in the blockchain space, they say we have all these different employees and we have this kind of a burn rate. Then I say, okay, let's put that data on blockchain. Why don't you put that on a blockchain, pay the salaries on blockchain? Then there is a record. Your investors are going to be happy. Why don't we start bringing each of those use cases and solve a real problem? And we need to be the ones starting it. And we are the ones who need to exhibit that. We cannot say, okay, the industry is down and let's all hibernate for the next 2 years until the Bitcoin halving, and then they go back trading on Shiba Inu. But we need to be the ones who put that example during the worst times and show it works. And already a lot of people are watching and a lot of people are following. We just don't see them because they're in a different circle. They're not on Twitter tweeting day in, day out because they're busy running $1 billion business. They're not out there talking in the events because they have a business to run. So how do we attract those audience? They're watching the news, they're reading the news. We just need to do amazing things that reaches the traditional audience, and they will come. I mean, being in Dubai, I should always remember, build and people will come.
So what's your plan? How are you gonna touch this audience? What's your marketing
Very
plan?
easy. It's quite easy for me. One, we have a very good understanding of marketing in the traditional space and in the blockchain space. So we are having these products. So think about it like Amazon. Amazon attracts vendors because they have a great delivery system and a great platform with great traffic. So Amazon brings in vendors, and then the vendors put in the products, and then they market the products. You go to any website, you look at a bag, and then you see Amazon products of all their bags. Now go buy it on Amazon. So that's exactly what we're doing. We have all these different developers that we are attracting from all the chains. We have all the chains. We go to the chains and say, hey, now your chain can work with us. So why don't you inform your developers? And those developers are going to put their products on forward. We also we are working with quite a lot of chains in a very deep integration, understanding what their vision is, which direction they are heading, because every chain targets a specific audience. For example, Polygon's Web2 to Web3 team has been looking at reward companies, like they got Starbucks and many more. They have been focusing on companies that are issuing their rewards on blockchain. And every such chain has a very specific objective. We align ourselves with their objective, and we work with them, and we get those guys using our forward solution to deploy, because they all sign MOUs. They sign MOUs day in, day out. But then people are not deploying those because these guys go back and want to find a developer to build it. It's not their business. They don't deploy it. So now they are sending their users to forward, because forward has created an affiliate structure where if a particular chain is sending a user, they only end up seeing that particular chain as a deployment solution. They don't see others. So we work with the businesses, we understand business, we give them what they want. So now they are driving users to us. And second, there are a lot of these templates that these developers are adding. We take these templates and start marketing. So now someone says they want a blockchain-based CRM. They want a blockchain-based solution for XYZ. So we start marketing in standard Google, Facebook advertising, other forms of reaching out to direct business development approach of reaching out to businesses and marketing. We speak to enterprises. We tell enterprises, you don't have to spend $1 million in 6 months. Don't even need an approval of your seniors. You're just deploying something on the weekend in your own personal wallet. Try it. If you see it's a good idea, take it to your team, convince them. And it's an MVP. There's no cost to it, because if you don't use it, there's no cost to it. Try it. If it works, then your company can build something more. It's an easy entry point that we're doing. So we have our enterprise business development. We have our digital marketing to traditional audience. We have a crypto audience, going to crypto audience and getting them to use all these different token contracts, and NFT contracts, vesting, staking, farming contracts, things like that they need, and employee payments on chain. Of course, a traditional company will not do that right now, but thousands of blockchain companies will. So it's about finding all these low-hanging fruits and bringing these users. And we're talking about thousands of companies, or a single company with 5-6 products. So few thousand deployments that will happen in this process, purely from a very short segment of people.
Karnika, it sounds like you have to have very strong sales team, business development team, who will make partnership with all blockchains and big companies who will make their applications on your platform.
Well, we have a marketing background for 16 years, worked with Fortune 100s like Cisco, AJC, and more. We have worked with all the top brands in the blockchain space, marketing for them all these years with our company, Key Difference Media, one of the oldest and the largest blockchain marketing agencies. So we have those resources, and business development is something that's part and parcel of it. So yes.
Okay, Karnika, I want to speak about your competitors. Once I asked you about your competitors, and we talked about your direct competitors, but you know that the next Netflix thinks that their main competitor is the time when people sleep, you know. So who is your main competitor?
Okay, so if we need to I think let's discuss about the competitors in chains. The first layer, the direct competitors would be entities who provide anything that makes their life easy, like a no-code solutions, and direct to deploy options like there are entities who provide NFT marketplaces, clones. That's all they do, copy NFT marketplaces. And there are some solutions where you deploy ERC20 contract. That's the only thing that they do. So there are some of these platforms which are definitely a competition. And the second layer would be entities who provision services from within their platform. Again, they're not a competitor to the whole of Forward. They're a competitor to a particular product of a particular developer. It's not Forward. Could be a platform which says you're able to do a vesting on the platform directly. Or maybe tomorrow you'll have a CRM on blockchain. You'll have each of those products by a hosted company, just like you have there's so many different SaaS companies. So Web3 SaaS companies could all steal some volume from every one of our deployed solutions. If somebody wants to run something on an existing solution, they're free to. If they want to own something, they can come to Forward. And if you go a level up, things that make blockchain not required is the biggest competitor on the other side. If something makes blockchain obsolete, maybe a solution comes in which is solving the problems of decentralization, speed, all of that, transparency, which is not a Web3 solution. Maybe something of that kind. I don't know what that could be, but if something like that comes in, that could be a threat. It could be a hybrid cloud solution, a transparent cloud database, which is also stored fractionally everywhere, and so on. That solves a lot of enterprise problems that the blockchain tries to solve and blockchain solves, and they can use that as an easier solution if Cloudflare or Amazon comes up with a product like that. And I think one of the other problems is the whole economic crisis that we have. The more problem goes towards survival in the world, more people focus on their tomorrow's need, the food, bread, butter, and their livelihood, the less interested they are in innovation, in solutions that come with blockchain. Of course, if it goes to a disastrous level of economy, they will obviously come to blockchain. But as long as they're in the middle, it is a distraction which reduces the speed at which this could work. But these are things I could think of right now. But if you have some ideas, I'm happy to hear.
Sorry, Karnika, I had some internet problems, so that's why I can't comment that. But I will listen. What did you say? And I will maybe suggest you something. Okay, thank you, guys. Maybe you have some questions for Karnika and for his idea. Yeah, by the way, I wanted to ask you about your tokens, about Forward token. So what, how people can use it? Do you have some specific plan about it? Because to be honest, I didn't get, I was listening about it and I didn't get
so
the idea
Forward
about
tokens
Forward
are
token.
used. Yeah, the tokens are an integral part of the system, because if a developer needs to put a dApp on the system, he needs to stake a specific amount of tokens to be eligible to put the dApp, because we want him to be serious, not much, like a couple $100. He puts in there, stakes it without reward. It's purely, and it's something that he puts in there to be part of the system. And there is a list of things that he has to deal with to not get slashed on it. He needs to maintain it. He needs to keep the application with the particular standards. If he doesn't want it, he can always remove his app from the factory and take his money back and go out. And a user who is using it, they will be paying protocol fees. So think about it like if you have an Ethereum wallet, you have some Ethereum sitting there and you pay the gas fees from there. In the same way, the contracts deployed, the applications deployed, the blockchains or subnets, in a particular wallet, they'll hold Forward tokens. They can buy it when it's cheap. They can hold it there and use it like a fuel for the vehicle over the next year or whatever the case may be. So there's a token that comes to us as a protocol fee on a consistent basis. Like the chain fee goes to the chain, the protocol fee comes to us. There is a fee that is paid to the it's paid to the different developers. So the developer is going to be stating the monthly fee or one-time fee or no fee or yearly fee, whatever the fee is. So that fee is going to be going in forward tokens as well to the developer. And the DAO members. So all the there's a developer DAO. So we have a common DAO. Any token holder is part of the common DAO. But I hate the common DAO. I'll be very honest, because the common DAO is filled with people who are speculating. And what do they want? They want to make decisions which increase the price of the token, which means they make all short-term decisions which kill a project. They are not, their mind is not focused on the long-term growth, which ideally means we cannot work with a common DAO on the important decisions that is specific to something like a developer central. They can make choices which is platform specific, like a fee or something that works across the ecosystem. But then the common DAO cannot always involve on every edition. We need to have sub DAOs, and the sub DAOs should have people qualified. If it's a developer DAO, he's going to, that developer DAO approves a particular dApp coming in. So a developer adds a dApp, these guys check in, say, okay, this is good. We tried, we tested, it works. It passes XYZ criteria, and we are happy to approve this, or it's broken. Now, a guy from the common DAO would say yes to everything because he's getting something out of it, or no to everything because he doesn't want someone to do something. Now, these developers, they stake some forward tokens to be part of the DAO. And these guys are not getting any reward for staking. It's just logged in to be part of the DAO. And every time they owe, they have to burn the tokens, very little, few forward tokens, but they burn, whether they owe yes or they owe no, they burn the tokens. But the more revenue the developers make, a part of that revenue goes to these developers DAO distributed to them, which means the more money the developer make, the better quality the platform is, better users are happy, the users come in and they're more happy they are, the more money this developer DAO makes, and they have an incentive to make the right choice. And we have different DAOs in the system, each governing specific principles with a specific amount of tokens that they lock in. And that way, the tokens are used within the factory in different instances. We have forward cluster chains. We have a high-speed chain, low-speed chain, hook chain, and other chain products. These products do not compete with other chains. We are not here to say we are fighting Ethereum by being decentralized. We are providing a simple solution. Again, a good example is WordPress.com to WordPress.org. If you want to have your own thing, it's WordPress.org. Go host it where you want, run it. If you don't want all of that, you just want a simple solution, maybe you're a company of 10 people. You're not looking at decentralization. You're looking at having something transparent, something cheap, something gets your job done. Just deploy in forward. Forward chain, use a high-speed chain. It has less sensitive data. It's only primarily for this purpose. We don't, it's not the most secure thing. Don't do your DeFi on the high speed. Do it on the low speed chain. Or if you have two things, use a cluster chain, a single application working on 2-3 chains. If you want to run cron jobs, use the particular hook chain where you run on-chain cron jobs. So you don't complain later that the cron ran, but something didn't trigger. So these are all different products, and these chains use forward tokens. You want to deploy your subnet on complete subnet for your government entity to work. The subnet could be, let's say, 3 government entities could have 3 subnets, and they might allow the conversation between the subnets. It's a complete separate network. Those guys would need to have burn $200 worth of forward tokens to create it. It's like a GoDaddy account. Every year you pay $200 to have a subnet. Avalanche subnets cost like $100,000 or whatever the current price right now is, because you need to be a node validator to create a subnet. With forward subnet, you are able to do that at $200 because you can hire a sponsor, you can hire a validator in the validator marketplace. These validators in the marketplace will provide the service of validating a blockchain or a subnet, and that transaction, the fee happens in forward token. They agree between themselves. I need 5 forward tokens to validate every block or every day, whatever the case is. All of this, I mean, the transaction happens in many places in the ecosystem. And wherever a fee is generated, we receive those fees as forward tokens to our treasury.
Karnika, I wish you will succeed because it really sounds very, very cool. Very cool. My last question for you is, what is your biggest issue now? Maybe you have some problem, maybe you have some specific goal which you need to resolve as quick as you can.
I think it is not just one. There are many, but I think the biggest one is to have more people who could voice things with the right approach. The more people who can educate a larger audience, talk to your friends, talk to people around, talk to businesses that you know. Maybe someone in your family runs a business. Maybe your friends do. people in your community street, they do go to a club, talk about it, and get the idea, the real idea of what blockchain is. It is not a monkey picture trading platform. Let's get that straight. It's not a place to have penny stock trading, like all this shit coins. It is a technology. And let's get that word out and get more people to come in. And when they ask, what can I do on blockchain? Get them to platforms like Forward. I'm not saying just Forward, whatever platforms that works for them. If they are a developer, please get them to go and deploy. They don't need to use Forward. My objective is not to bring people to Forward, but to be that gateway if they need Forward in the journey. And we are trying to make ourselves helpful and useful in the process. That's my job. But the larger community's job is to just get the image of blockchain right and get more and more people. If you're studying in a university, why don't you talk to your university management? Maybe your certifications could be on blockchain. They don't have to remove their offline thing. They can put this online and have the offline thing, both working hand in hand, like the fiat currencies in paper and in your bank. You can have both. And over a period of next 10 years, they can let the old things go. The old things can die slow. Let's not threaten them. Let's work with them, solve their problems, ask what their problems are, and let's try to use blockchain as a solution for that. And I think that is the biggest problem. And if that issue is solved, more people come to blockchain. I have no doubt they will come to Forward, because that is the easiest way to deploy it. It is an obvious choice. And we will do our job of making it visible everywhere over this upcoming period. And more developers, if the developers are there, you have code, please come and put it on Forward. Let more people use your product. Let more people make use of what you have created. You've spent day and night trying to solve problems. Let's use it and make money in the process. So it's a call for the community. It's a call for everyone who understands what blockchain is. It's to help, not Forward, not me, but to help our vision, our philosophy of what we all believe in. We see a world out there, a world of decentralization. We see a world out there where we are able to own something and not be owned by someone else. We don't want to be a slave. We want freedom. If you believe in freedom, if you believe in what Web3 decentralization can do, then let's get that word out. That's all I ask.
I see. Thank you for that. Karnika, we have a couple of questions. Some of them we have already discussed, but maybe you will repeat, in another words so people can understand it better, Who right now can use protocol?
Anybody. Developers can use, users can use. Both of those parts are open. Right now, you have the private beta sign up form, but you have the link. So we can make it public, and we'll be making it public shortly, and anybody can use it. They can be from any business, any area of life. They can be doing even personally as an individual. If you want to just award people in your school, do it. Create some nice graphics as awards and distribute that to their wallets. Of course, wallets are a bit hard right now. Sure, just create your own wallets for them. Let's get that idea. Let's get the idea out. It's not about doing it right. It's about doing it first. Start somewhere, and let's become perfectionists later, where everybody owns everything. But start using it in your personal life in any way you can. When I go out, have a conversation with someone in the blockchain space, I ask them, where do you use blockchain in your life right now? And the question is nowhere. You use it for trading, you use it to transfer money, but then you don't use it anywhere else. My job is to say in the upcoming period, anybody I talk to, they should have at least 2 areas they're using blockchain in their life. Maybe they're storing their own ideas on chain to prove to other people that they actually had that idea at that point in their life. That's like minting an NFT. Our proof of ownership can do that. Just start using it in the little things, and those little things are what matters. We see people using Twitter for that. They go to Twitter and they put their ideas there because they can point it 5 years, 10 years down the line that they tweeted about it. But what if Twitter doesn't exist? What if something happens? So let's start using blockchain for those purposes. It's something important. Please use Ethereum, pay some fees and use their chain. And let's start using that in any way. I think the problem is not who can use it. It's a problem is who can educate them. The more people can be educated, more people can use it.
Yes, and the next question is about the tutorials. Do you have one?
We don't have the tutorial set, but we have done a lot of videos explaining, giving ideas, telling people how they can use it. So a lot of those educational information sharing has been there over the last many years from me, our partners, our friends, and so on. And we will continue making that. But as we make the platform public, we'll be putting video tutorials and other training documentation live for the developer, for the end user, and more. So we'll be publishing that as we go.
Yes, thanks. Also, the question is, no code, they say, but what are devs for them?
Can you repeat the question? What's?
Yes. I think that was the question from Igor, and I already asked that, but maybe you will repeat. So why do you need developers on your platform?
Okay. So it is no code platform for the end user who's deploying
Yes.
the application. The developers are coming in to put their templates on there. So only if it's like WordPress. WordPress, you can build one click in a hosting, you can deploy your WordPress. You have drag and drop builders, and you have plugins you can choose and use. But then there's a developer for the plugin, there's a developer for each of those things. So developers are earning money in this ecosystem by creating those modules. They compete among themselves to create a better module with a better monetization so that the users are able to have this absolute no code solution. So it is no code, not a no code for developers right now, but we do have a future iteration where we are actually building a no code part for the developer where they're able to drag and drop different pre-built modules to create a smart contract or an application purely from a front-end interface. That might take us a few more months, probably sometime mid 2023 or later, but that will make it no code for every developer. Of course, that is not going to do every application in the world. We need to understand there are limitations to everything. Like you cannot do everything with the WordPress. There are limitations to each of those as well. So that no code interface can help with a lot of logic based applications. And in the future, as it evolves, that will extend its functionality as well. And the developer library will extend for most of the users. And I would say we are in a world of constant progress. There'll be need for some developer at some point, and that is a part that the developer central takes care of.
Yes, the question I like. What can you suggest us to build on forward as a DAO?
Can you repeat again, please?
Yes. What can you suggest us as a DAO to build on a forward? Or maybe not to build, maybe to buy some application. Can we do something now there? Not maybe not as developers, but as final users.
Okay. So if you like to do your voting as a DAO, there are existing contracts that is available that can be used for DAO to deploy. If you like, so just to pass your proposals and votes, there are existing GitHub-based contracts for it. So that we can load it on forward, and you can go ahead and deploy, customize your front end, put your logo, what you want to do there, and run. So as a DAO, if you have investment solutions and if you do something around that, then you can provide liquidity to your users by tokenizing the investment opportunities. So a user puts up some money, that money can be given to them in some other tokens, which they can use to trade, like a secondary market to an asset, a derivative of an asset. Because those tokens can be traded on any other exchanges as well. So it's almost as good as creating an ERC, minting an ERC20 and distributing. So we have an ERC20 contract, just go deploy that, mint X tokens based on X dollars that as a DAO you're creating for something, and then that can be traded in any DEX. And in the future, we are working on even putting a whole DEX on there with the DEX engine. Then you can have your own DEX in the future as well. So there you go.
Yeah, got that. Thank you. And the last question. Could you send us a private link to begin work with the protocol?
Yes, I can do that right away.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Karnika, thank you very much for your time. I wish you all the best and good luck in your very ambitious idea. I hope you will succeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so guys, if you have some questions, maybe it's the last chance to do that.
Sorry.
Yeah, no questions.
Karnika, it was
Okay.
a very interesting speech. I am passionate, how to say, to begin to try, because when you explain that we can build primitives with forward protocol, primitives of any ecosystem, DEX, GT, and voting in DAO and stuff like that. And I think that NFT also can be driven on your protocol. I began to understand the power, hidden power of this gem, or how to say gem, which is forward. And now I really hope you will send us the link, and we will go and together with screencast try to find out what we can do. And I think that several guys from our DAO will use it for our
Perfect.
purpose. Guys, boys and girls, does anybody have any question? Don't be shy.
We also have a group, so you can shoot questions anytime as well.
Thank you very much. That is what we will do. I'm sure. Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Key. Thank you, Ksenia, for helping us. And thank you guys, boys and girls, who watched this video till the end. Good luck, have a fun, use forward protocol. Bye-bye.